This is Lynn. I think we're on now. Hey, this is Lynn. I am here today with the beautiful Ellie. We were just chatting ahead of time and we figured out that she is way in Florida. I am in Washington State. So we are at opposite catty corners. Just So it is 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and it is 8 p.m. your time.
Yes, 8 p.m.
So let me just share a quick little bit about Ellie. I want to and she has so much to say, and I'm so excited to hear everything from her. I want to show you her YouTube channel. So give me a moment here. All right, so she has this great channel called Nourishment Redacted, and it is a really great channel. She's got some fantastic videos. I'll probably come back to it, but I wanted to show you her channel just to get started. So you can go over there and subscribe to her.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just lost a bunch of subscribers today. I think it was YouTube purging accounts or something.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was a significant, it was like 50 or something. All of a sudden just dropped off in a couple of hours. So I think it was a YouTube thing. So anyways, if you're watching this and you've make sure you're still subscribed to my channel too, because hopefully you didn't get dropped. So we work hard to earn our subscriptions. So Ellie, I want you to just go ahead and start off giving us some history about your life leading up to your deciding to change your diet. Now, I know that part of it includes being keto, but let's just start before that and the things that led up to that decision for you to start making some changes in your health.
Yeah, sure. Okay. When I was young, I put a lot of emotional ties to food. And it didn't matter what emotion it was. It wasn't just like a stress thing or sadness thing. It was happiness, boredom, just all the spectrum of all the emotions were all tied to food. And I was in the center of it, being pulled and tugged, And that caught up with me. I used to eat a lot of processed foods, a lot of grains, in particular pasta on rice, and I used to overeat. I don't think I necessarily had a issue with binging, but there was definitely a lot of overeating, going for seconds, going for thirds, and then there's like, okay, now I'm full. So I think that my senses for having a full stomach and being satiated, those were all out of whack. And then I was fairly healthy weight all through high school, childhood and high school, but I noticed that every year or so I was gaining 10 pounds. And then eventually, that catches up to you. And
right.
I'm on the taller side of, I'm 5'7". Yeah, 5'7". I was like, am I 5'7"? I'm 5'7". And just that, I held my weight well for quite a number of years, but then, it started taking a toll on me. Like thighs rubbing together and that causing a lot of skin tags and tearing of the skin and blisters and boils because of that rubbing constantly. Because I carry my weight more down, but below my waist.
You're a pear.
I'm a pear.
You're a pear, yeah.
I'm a wide-shouldered pear.
Okay.
I'm like a T. I don't know, but yeah, that's where I gained my weight, particular weight, and so I just continued to overeat, and eventually I became my heaviest, which was 240 pounds, and all the way up to that, I feel like I was quite a happy person, but an aimless person. I never had I tried to, I went to school, I had jobs, while going to school, I originally wanted to be a teacher, and then I changed my mind and then wanted to go into technical writing. And so I did my associate's degree, and that took a while and I had a lot of brain fog. So that took like a long time, and I was having some issues with depression as well, and just struggling with math and science and all that stuff. And so, but Oh, hi, sorry.
She's just like,
um,
it's like you're talking about her exactly. Yeah, a lot of us can relate to this.
oh, I'm so glad. If
Yeah.
I can help someone, that makes me feel good. And
Yeah,
you're not alone out there. That's
that's right.
so. Eventually, I got my associate's degree, and then I was working towards my bachelor's. And I was working. I was a nanny. I used to nanny overnight for 1 to 2 families, depending on their schedules. And I've also worked in retail and stuff like that while going to school. And so I was doing it. I was going to school. I was working. I had who's my husband now, but he was my boyfriend, then fiance. So and I had good friends. I lived with one of my girlfriends, and so you would think like life is good, life is great. But then there's this like, the my health was taking a toll on me,
Yeah. So if people looked
honestly.
at you from the outside in, it sounds like you look like you were doing really well and functional and
Yeah. My mom was like shocked when I told her how much I struggled with my depression. And I had 1 or 2 big spells of like depersonalization disorder,
can
which
you
is
explain
like,
what that is?
yeah, it's a, when you start to disassociate, so like you'll start having out of body experiences due to stress. It's a way to protect yourself from trauma, and so your mind kind of shuts off. Like I find it comes in different kind of waves. Like there's like more minor things like being absorbed in like there's a stressful situation. Say I have like, I don't know, back then maybe I had like a lot of homework to do or I didn't understand what I was doing. So then I would go watch a movie or eat food and like kind of dissociate that way. But like the worst part was I was like taking quite a heavy class load, and then I started having a like outer body experiences
Hmm.
or you look down at your hands and my feet and you begin to panic. I had panic attacks as well. I don't think I mentioned
Hmm.
that. And I began panicking, and it was kind of like I was watching from the outside. It's very odd to explain, but it's kind of like a nightmare situation. Like you
It
recognize your
sounds really
body.
scary.
It is scary. It really is. And
Hmm.
not and it wasn't like that was happening in my home. It was like in school, and everyone's like, what's going on? And I'm like screaming and crying, and like, it was. And
So
after
you
that I
started
just,
screaming like in the middle of class?
yeah, like it was like a buildup,
Wow.
like a, like
Wow.
didn't recognize my hands. I looked down. Are those my feet? Yeah, those are my feet, but how come they don't feel like my feet? So it's
Wow.
very cerebral, and this kind of, I don't know, it's weird. um and so, and, having panic attacks. So like after I ended up dropping out of college, then even though I was like 80% done with my degree, you can see like I was really like working hard. And like people in my family like didn't go to college. Like I was really trying to like elevate my life and do more with it, even
Right.
though I was very aimless, no encouragement to do any particular field or even to study. My mom would give me like tutors and stuff, but then they would kind of like, it didn't really help, just that was like things growing up. And I felt very misunderstood, even though I knew I was very loved. Um, but yeah, so I ended up dropping out of college, and my weight kept going up and up, and I kept trying to diet because I knew, I wanted to look nice. I had my boyfriend who became my fiance, and I wanted to feel good and look nice. And, that weight just kept creeping up. And it was just, yeah, just a lot of panic attacks. I tried to just work full time. And I remember just walking into the store and seeing all the people like in the line. And then like I literally like my knees like buckled, and I like literally started screaming and being in a fetal position. And like I was like, I can't. It was like a horror film. Like, don't make me go. It's just like I hate even thinking about it because I'm so
Yeah.
far from
So were you
like,
seeing a doctor about this when all of this was happening?
yeah, I went to my general practitioner, and I was on Lexapro, an
Mhm.
antidepressant, for about 5 6 years. Pretty high dose, but like I don't think it really helped, honestly. I don't even remember like any kind of feeling being on it, being off of it. Like when I weaned off of it, I don't.
Didn't really make a difference. Now
I don't think so.
you mentioned that the depersonalization disorder is basically your brain's, protecting you, and it's related to trauma. Did you know what trauma that was associated with in your life?
Um, I don't think it's like one particular thing
Mm-hmm.
because so my not to get into too much detail about my mom, but
Yeah.
my father wasn't in my life.
Mm.
He, as a baby, he kind of took one look at me and was like, "That's not my kid," even though I am. But confirmed.
Really?
Like, yeah, and so I felt my mom didn't really want to talk about it. She was just like, mom's here," and she never really wanted to talk about him. And eventually, my mom was in a relationship with a man, and we became very close, and he was very loving. And so he kind of like he became my father. That's who I consider. So I had a father figure growing up since age 5 and
That's
on.
that's good.
Yeah, and it's really funny because they didn't actually like get married like they were going to. So like it was just a very pure and good relationship. And
So you
I'm
considered
really
him your
thankful.
stepdad?
He's my dad. Like to me, he's like my father. I know I have
Yeah.
a blood like a biological father, but so I think there's a little bit of trauma there being um, rejected, and then
Mm-hmm.
like being in my when I would turn I'm 33 now, but like when I was like 29, 30, I found him on Facebook and like had him confirm with my mom like and I'm like, is this him? And I got in contact with him, and he basically told me that he can't tell his wife about me, he can't tell his son about me, so he has like this whole family and stuff like that. So then I got rejected again, and
That
that
happened
really
to my son, because I'm an adoptive mom.
Mhm.
And so I definitely know how you don't have to be biologically related to the people who you consider your parents and have it to be real and wonderful and loving relationship for sure. But that happened to my son. He reached out and he
Oh,
found his biological dad, and that exact same thing happened. So it was like another rejection. And
yeah.
yeah, did that kind of put you back into depression, or how did you cope with
No, it was just kind of like a close the door. I'm done.
that? Okay, so you got
I gave him
closure.
I yeah, I got a little closure from it. And there was like some things like as a kid, like there was I used to live in New York from my younger years, and there was like a shootout in front of like our building, even though we lived in a nicer neighborhood,
Oh,
and like
wow.
so that was really scary. There's like little things, like things
Yeah,
that pile up and make you feel insecure and scared, and we don't have to
yeah.
go into all that detail, but
But no, that
just so
explains a lot as
yeah,
to why you would have these, your brain would need to protect you.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Just some, I mean, yeah, I think my mom did a good job protecting me as much as she could. She kept me a kid. I felt like I had to grow up fast or something, and I still carry that within me, like being child, like to have a childlike wonder. I try to be anyway. So it's like either I'm like super perfectionistic or just like silly or serious or silly. I feel like I don't have like a in between. I don't know. I'm trying my best to stay in the middle. But yeah, so like there was a lot of like mental issues, and I just I tried what are those what was it called, like I tried to lose weight. I tried Nutrisystem. I
Oh,
tried
yeah.
low fat, calorie counting for years, like logging my calories and trying to work out. And like I made a video on my channel that's that is a letter to myself when I was at my worst. Yeah, like
I
it's like
watched that. It's very
yeah,
emotional. It's beautiful.
yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I made that so that it's on my channel, and I will never forget the pain. Because if you forget the pain and you start feeling good when you start removing all those inflammatory foods, you're gonna go right back. I feel like you're gonna slide back into old habits or
Yeah.
old ways of comforting yourself, like in my case. And so eventually I learned about the ketogenic diet, keto, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can eat burgers and bacon. Like I can, it's like those are my favorite like foods, like cheese and all the fatty things that I grew up. My mom saying sour cream was going to give me like cellulite in my thighs, and not in a derogatory way, but just like there's these little comments like fat is bad for you, red meat is bad for you, and I had another issue was I had really chronic constipation. I would only go like once a month, and it was like once maybe every 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very seldom, and I would have like contraction like pains, and it would like all come out over a series of hours, like 5-6 hours. I don't want to like get too graphic, but like.
Hey, like I said, I was a GI nurse. I spent like days. I was talking to everybody about the poop. So
I know you can handle it. I don't know if your viewers can handle it.
You know what? I talk about poop on my channel. So
all right. Well, let's just say I was filling the toilet several times. Let's just say that.
No. Did you? Now, I mean, in all my years as working as a GI nurse, I always like to clarify, like when people talked about, like I only go once a month or I only go 3 weeks. Some people would mean they had little nuggets or something minimal in between, but they only had a full bowel movement every few weeks. Was that your case, or did you literally pass nothing?
I think it was like sometimes that, sometimes not.
Okay. That's painful.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and I know that, and I've talked to so many patients, some have, IBS with the diarrhea, others have IBS with constipation. Some people have other reasons for having constipation. But, diarrhea can be really painful as well. And especially when you get really irritated down below. But constipation, I'd almost rather have diarrhea than constipation, to be honest, because
I feel like I had both.
Yeah. Because I mean, especially, like up it as it kind of packs in up on your left side, and it just is so painful, and it can be debilitating pain.
It was like I would shake and like have to, like I would be breathing heavily and like literally having like chills, and like my legs would go numb.
Yeah.
My feet would go numb. It just
to break out in cold sweats and.
Yeah. And I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. And all my doctor told me was eat more fiber.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
That's what I used to tell the patients was, and of course I would kind of differentiate between the types of fiber, because some, especially with people taking a fiber supplement, some of them are better for constipation, others are better for diarrhea. But yeah, that was the answer, is that, eat more fiber, make sure you're getting plenty of fiber in your diet. Now, did they ever do a colonoscopy?
I've never had one done. I'll be honest, I was very bad about going to the doctor. Oh, sorry about my camera. Stop that for a moment. Refresh it. Nope. Let's give it a minute. I'm still here.
That's okay. That's all right. Yeah, hopefully it'll straighten out. Oh, there you go. You're back.
It's an older camera. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, some people have a elongated like sigmoid colon, and they tend to have the same types of symptoms as you. That's why I was curious as whether you'd had a colonoscopy, because that's how they would determine that because they have this elongated sigmoid colon, and it just, things build up a lot, have to build up a lot more in there before it gets the signal to start pushing things through, or it tends to be weaker. The signaling is weaker. And the walls are weaker. So there's anatomical reasons why people get constipated to that extent, and they have to do enemas all the time.
Right. I relied a lot on not enemas, but like laxatives, stuff like that. I had, and that was just as painful. It would be the same amount of pain. All it would do is be sooner. Like, instead of waiting 4 weeks, I would take it like 3 weeks, same amount of pain.
So you'd still have the cramping, the horrible cramping pain.
Yeah.
Alaskan Sauce. Hello. Good evening.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. So, and we got another.
Hi.
Rhonda. Hi, Ellie and Sherry. I watched the interview you did with your daughter last night. It was a tearjerker. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you were able to watch that. Yeah, I did an interview with my daughter that was actually a live stream last Saturday where she shared her story, and it's pretty amazing. And I didn't announce until maybe 10 or 15 minutes into it that she was actually my daughter. So some people came and didn't realize that she was my daughter. But yeah, it was very brave of her to come on and do that. So it's called something like Why I'm Not a Carnivore Yet, because she has some major food issues.
Oh, she's your daughter.
Yeah.
I saw that on my homepage, and I have it on my watch list.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's my daughter. So we had a nice conversation.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
Glad you're here, Rhonda. So I know you've mentioned, I have watched almost all of your videos. I mean, I love watching your videos. Yes, I find you to be so relatable. And even though I mean, my oldest daughter is your age, so I'm considerably older than you, but I do find your videos to be so relatable. And I just find that you just seem to have such a compassion and such a sweet disposition and a heart, but you're so real, and I've gotten to see, as we'll go on in your channel, you let your quirky side come in, which is really cool. Yeah. But I know you mentioned being in bed a lot with your depressions. Can you go into that a little bit more and share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So like after I dropped out of college, I wasn't working. I was just, I was in bed. I was watching movies, watching YouTube, just escaping into media, playing video games, all that stuff. And I hardly bathed. I hardly brushed my teeth. I had, like, I don't know, my husband must have really loved me because he was still with me. It's like things were getting better in our lives. He got a better job. And at that time, we were actually living with a lot of friends. We rented out a house, and we had really good friends, like living, so we could all share the rent and stuff. So it wasn't like I was alone. I had a good family oriented like home, but like up here, so I would smile in front of them, but then up here, there was like, I failed this, I failed that, I failed this. It's just a lot of compounding, just feeling like I'm wandering aimlessly. I have no purpose. I'm not worthy of love. Just like all these horrible thoughts that you should not have. I don't deserve to take care of myself. It's like, why brush your teeth? Because like it's not like you're gonna go out and do anything. It's like things like that. And so those horrible, and I hate saying that because it just makes me sound like a gross person, but like that's just how depressed I was.
I've been there. I've been there. I totally understand. I was in a psychiatric hospital for 5 days when I was about your age, because of severe anxiety, and it is debilitating. And so I completely understand. And I couldn't bathe myself. I didn't have the strength. But then when you deal with depression, it's very, it's just survival mode, and
it's a good way to say it.
Yeah. I mean, and the things that matter, what matters is your protective cocoon that you build around yourself. Now, was it the depersonalization, those attacks that would come on that put you into that funk where you were in bed a lot, or was there something else going on?
Those things kind of ended very important things in my life. They gave me structure. Ended college and ended jobs, even if they weren't like a career or anything, like working in retail and all that stuff. Like it ended, it just stopped everything that I had been working so hard for. And so since I wasn't in those stressful situations anymore, like school and work, where I would have a lot of panic attacks, like being in the back room at work and like a customer yelled at me and like it all welled up, or I'd see like 30 people in line, and it's like I have to. I'm a kind like I absorb people's emotions. So if someone's really happy, I'm happy. If someone's really sad, it's like, yeah, you're the same. It's hard.
Probably both empaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have described me as that, but I don't like to say I'm an empath. It's like, no, I don't believe it. No, I'm just kidding.
You probably are. You probably are. You know.
It's something I'm working on. Like I have a hard time, like, and my sister's the same way. We both like have a difficulty with like accepting compliments. And we'll usually just be like, what do I do? Robot.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
but I appreciate that. Thank you.
If you watch my daughter's story, well, you'll probably relate to her early life and, being taken away from her birth parents and being in foster care in multiple homes. And that early rejection from what you perceive as rejection, or actual rejection from a birth parent sends you a message about yourself. And it may not be the message it may not be true at all, but as a child, that's, you get this messaging that you're not worthy of love and that you're not good enough. And, a lot of kids go through that, and it's sad. It's a shame, to carry that message into adulthood. And because some people, their whole life, that's what they experience. And, so that's sad. So tell me, so during all this time, like when you were spending all this time in bed, what were you eating?
Oh, what was I eating? It's like, can I remember that part? No, I'm just kidding. I ate a lot of Chinese food, pizza, pasta, a lot of pasta. Pasta was like my kryptonite. Pasta was my kryptonite. Like back when I was like young, that was like my favorite meal. Like it's like the poor man's like a poor man's meal. Like you have spaghetti with butter and hot dogs. I call it the poor man's because it's like it's really cheap, and they'll fill you up. And we were lower income at that time, and I just kept eating that. Like I could probably eat like, I don't know, half a pound or 3/4 of a pound of pasta, 3 hot dogs, like half a stick of butter. Like, just like that was a lot of food.
Well, if you took the pasta away, the hot dogs and the butter probably weren't too bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like now that I'm carnivore, it was just like, it's just so funny because it's like, that's the taste. It was the butter. It was like the fatty meat that I was
butter makes everything better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I just wanted the volume in my stomach because I was having those those satiety issues. But so I eventually found keto. I was at the lowest of my low. And I felt like nothing was working. I tried, like my roommates tried to help me work out, and I would take walks, and this was like nothing. And then I was like, well, maybe it's like what I'm eating. And then I started watching like the first doctor. This is back in late 2018. I found Dr. Berg. He was like the biggest, he was big. He's still big, but but there wasn't really like a keto community, at least not that I saw. I would just watch the doctors and like some cooking videos. Like it's not like how it is today with the carnivore community, which I love. I love so much. So I started eating ketogenically, but I was following the Dr. Berg advice, which was still like, like he would recommend like 8 to 10 cups of spinach a day. And it wasn't even really focused on like, it was back in the day when it was like high fat, moderate protein, low carb. So I would try to keep my carbs like net 20 or sometimes 20, it depended, and like I don't even remember there being like an emphasis of meat on my end. I remember and then eventually I started making all the like substitution foods like keto pizza and like all that stuff, keto quiche. And
I did that, the fat bombs and.
Yeah, I never did the fat bombs, but I know that a lot of people do those. Yeah, I would just go for like the comfort foods, like keto bread and like those protein bars, and like anything that says keto in a package. We all know that's not keto.
Yeah, you're just substituting you're not really getting to the root of the problem. That's why I couldn't do keto, because it just made me want the real thing.
Yeah.
But you did have results.
It's
You did have
hard.
results on keto, right?
I did. Yeah, I was able to do it for 6 months, and like everything got better. Everything. Like my I didn't even mention I have rosacea that got better. My I started losing weight. I lost like 53 pounds in 6 months, and like my depression lifted. I was happy. Um, I was feeling better. Just like in general, just I think the weight was really, really like important to help my self esteem and get myself back up. But just like even my depression was gone, my panic attacks were gone. It was just
Wow.
like amazing, and like because of that, like I was able to. I always forget to mention this. I had really irregular periods, like every 100 days or something. Like every 3 months, I'd have a period. Like so, it was very irregular. And then with keto, I was regular, and I was able to get pregnant because my husband and I are like, we love each other. We want to have a family. Like, do you think you can do this, Ellie? Maybe this is what you need to like have purpose. And like he was right, man. Being mom's awesome. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It's like after the kids are in bed and I reflect, I'm like, these are the best years of my life. That's what I think. Like in the moment, it seems so hard, but it feels so good. But then I got pregnant. Yay! And then my doctor said, you have to stop being pregnant. Or no, oh my gosh, no, you have to stop eating keto. Lord have mercy.
Okay, your doctor told you to stop doing the thing that straightened out your periods, that allowed you to get pregnant.
Yes. Can someone edit what I said? It was so fun. Yeah. It's unfortunate, and I started having, and because of like those words, I started having like meat aversions. Also, just because I think pregnancy, that happens sometimes. But I started having meat aversions, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to eat crackers because I feel so sick and nauseous, and I can't look at another chicken thigh with goat cheese on it again. Like I used to just, those early, even though now that sounds really good. Yeah, and so I think so then there was like, so I had my daughter, and it was very, it was a healthy pregnancy, and delivery and all that stuff, very, very smooth. And I got pregnant with my son, and I gave birth to him in 2022. So I have a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, 3.5-year-old and 1.5-year-old. And I was able to more or less maintain my weight. With the 2 pregnancies, I mean, not maintain my weight. I gained like maybe 20 pounds total.
Oh, wow.
And that's not bad. That's not bad at all. But that was me still, like the depression was slowly coming back. I was feeling bloated and uncomfortable, and I just couldn't lose weight. I tried keto so many times, but the problem is that I was addicted to sugar, and I was addicted to coffee, and I was addicted to carbohydrates and processed foods like like Chinese food, pizza, all that stuff, takeout, whatever. And I was very addicted to those foods. And like I said earlier, emotional ties. Now I have a newborn with colic, and during the time, this was during 2020, and so like it was just like it was really hard. It was really hard.
Yeah.
Eventually, we moved around a lot, and now we're like we're more settled now, and I've been carnivore for 191 days.
Yay.
And and
so what difference has carnivore made versus keto?
I think it really made all the addictions go away. Like I was doing carnivore, I was like, I don't want coffee. So I mean, except today. Today I smelled my husband's. I was like, that sounds kind of good, but I still, I can say no. I can say, oh, that sounds nice, but I can say no now, as opposed to, before. Just I don't have cravings for foods that are not on plan, and I feel very energized. Like I wake up with like more or less energy. I mean, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed just because I'm lazy, but I could get out of bed. I've lost weight on it. I don't have any issues with constipation anymore. I feel like my skin is getting better. Just overall, I just feel like I'm finally free of those addictions that really held me back in life. And
that's wonderful.
And it also has helped that I kind of stumbled upon YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm making friends like you, Lynn. And it feels good to be able to share my story and just to let people know that carnivore isn't scary. It's like anybody can do it. You probably already like 70% of the foods already on there. Mm-hmm. And it might just put you out of your comfort zone just enough so that you can conquer, like the demons or the addictions.
Right. And so you came up with the name Nourishment Redacted for your channel. You want to talk a little bit about what that means and what the goal and purpose of your channel is and what direction it's going in?
Yeah, sure. So I had watched, I think everybody has watched Carrie from Homestead House 30-day like his first video of like, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. Like, and I was like, yes, that's me. Oh my gosh, I have to do carnivore. I have to make a YouTube channel. I have to have a why. And this is when I say I can't forget the pain, I get that from him. And he knows that. I told him
right.
when we chatted. And what was your question again?
So what does Nourishment Redacted mean?
Oh, that's right. Thank you. That's where I was going. I was like, I was going on a tangent. So I decided from his video to make my channel. And I kept seeing the word nourishment everywhere because I felt like carnivore was finally putting the nutritious foods in my body that my body's been craving all of these years, because it's like I had like a never ending empty stomach, I just kept feeding. And it's like, now it's like I eat and I can go so long without eating and I don't feel deprived. And I just feel really, really good. And so that word kept popping in my head. And then I had a dream where I was reading this really old like medical book. And it was like thick. And it was like saying like how, we were meat eaters and all this really important information about the importance of fat and being in ketosis and all that. And then all of a sudden the words started becoming like blacked out, like they were being redacted. And I just remember waking up being like, it's being redacted. My nourishment is redacted. So it's kind of a long name, but yes, it was significant to me in a way. I felt like it was kind of like a vision that I don't want other people's nourishment to be redacted. I want the information to be available and easy to view and understand and try to implement in your life if you can.
Well, and it's very I think descriptive of what has happened over the last maybe 100 years or so when it comes to nourishment. I mean, people used to be more of a meat-based society. We used to, they would eat primarily meat, and then we have gotten so much messaging contrary to that over the years. So which has been very unhealthy for us.
Yes.
I mean, all the messaging, just think about the low fat, no fat, messaging that came through, and how that's probably one of the worst ones and that has come. And of course, you take away the fat, you got to add sugar.
Yes, because everything tastes bad, right?
Make something palatable. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And even the diet that you were on before with all the spinach, that's very high oxalate. So that's very inflammatory to your body. So interesting. So how has it been as a young mom? You've got these little ones and you've decided to eat carnivore. How did that go over with your little ones?
Yeah. So when I started, my son was around. So this is technically like my second time doing carnivore. I guess I didn't mention that because I had tried it earlier this year around January. I did about 2-3 months, but this is my fault. I ate old meat in my fridge and I got food poisoning. And so that's just, label your food, everybody, please. Just label your meats. That's really important. I don't know.
Now,
Maybe
do you know how long we're supposed to keep it in? Like, how long can we keep it in the freezer before it needs to be used?
I think it depends a lot. Like in the freezer, I know that a lot of meats are like good for 4 to 6 months, but like the food I'm talking about was like leftovers.
Oh,
It was like old leftovers, and I was
the
like, oh,
fridge.
it's fine. In the fridge, yeah, it was like old leftover. I don't even remember what it was. I don't know, but so that kind of like threw me off, and then I wasn't as disciplined because I hadn't seen Carrie's video yet. Like
Okay.
like I think I found out about Carnivore through like Dr. Barry or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't as like I knew how important it was. So because of that, my son was 6 months old, and then he was starting to eat solid foods. So he ate when Mama ate. If Mama was having eggs and bacon,
Mm-hmm.
he had eggs and bacon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's been carnivore pretty much the whole time.
Your son has.
Yes.
So my Apex Odyssey says I have had Butcher Box in the deep freezer for 2 years, and it was awesome when I cooked it. Wow, that's a long time. That's good. So it's a deep freezer.
Nice.
Does that mean like a 0 degree? Is that what that means? Because I know my freezer's not that cold. But interesting. So your son has been carnivore ever since he started to eat regular food, but your
Yeah.
daughter had been eating carbs.
Yes. I knew because of my experience with keto how bad sugar is for you. So I
Mm-hmm.
tried and processed food. So I tried, and my husband has ulcerative colitis, so we have to be very mindful of his condition. And so we try to do whole food, try to stay away from processed food. I mean, of course, we ordered a pizza every now and then, but it was like for the most part, food cooked at home. And we did that, and slowly like adapting her diet to a more like low carb, and then slowly into carnivore. It's been a process for sure. She's a bit more picky because she's
Okay.
had a taste, and if it was up to her, she'd eat like pasta and pie all day. But like she always tells me, she's like,
Oh,
I
wow.
want pie, or like bananas. Like she used to like sometimes she'd eat 2 bananas a day, just like,
Oh,
and
wow.
because I was like so tired and I wasn't like all the way here,
Right.
I would just be like, here, have a banana. Like, yeah, eat it. Like, and it's like, that's just all sugar.
It's a lot of
And
sugar.
so
Yeah, for a
it's
little
a lot.
one. Yeah, for
It's a
any of
lot.
us.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so um I'm just trying to do the best I can with her. I don't know, sometimes like today she just wanted to eat bacon all day. Like I tried to give her some chicken, I tried to give her some eggs. She didn't want them.
Okay.
She just ate bacon all day, and it's like
Okay.
I'm trying not to put pressure on her, but sometimes it's like, please, you have to eat. You have to eat. So it's like this isn't more of a me thing.
It sounds
So
like
I'm trying
progress
to,
though from wanting to eat, crackers or something all day.
yeah. There was a
It's
point in time where she was eating a lot more variety of meats. And she loves cheese
mm,
too, and she loves milk and all that stuff. And we allow
yeah.
strawberries. Maybe that's not carnivore, that's ketovore, but like seasonal berries and stuff like that.
Mm,
I say carnivore to make it easier for people to understand like my type of content, because
mm.
like we're mostly carnivore. And then every once in a while they'll have strawberries. I don't think it's a big deal. They're children,
Yeah, I mean, they're children and they haven't messed their bodies up, and it sounds like you're feeding them really good nutrition. So, I mean, I
trying
guess,
to.
yeah, I mean, the goal obviously is to help raise healthy children that aren't going to be metabolically challenged like we've been.
That's
So you,
exactly my mission. And even though I don't share my kids online, I like to talk about like the highs and the lows of
mhm.
going about this, because there's a lot of like social pressure that you can have from like friends and family, and like it's difficult to get out of restaurants. Like there are things that can seem like a hindrance, but the benefits of not growing up to be metabolically unhealthy, like that, I think far outweighs the other one. And
Yeah.
yeah, at the end of the day, my husband and I don't want our kids to be obese and depressed, and like him have ulcerative colitis, me with my constipation issues. We don't want them to be addicted to food and alcohol and all that stuff. So hi, Christy. She's here.
She's here.
So that's that's the goal. And I never want to like paint like it's a perfect picture, you know, like with my daughter, there are days where it's a struggle to get her to eat certain things, but I think she just wants what she used to have, and she's very smart. My daughter I think she's like 5 or 6 mentally. Emotionally, she's 3. But she's always had an excellent vocabulary and very empathetic and a wonderful little girl. And she's just trying her best. Mama has to remember that because Mama.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3. So I've heard people that have raised their kids carnivore talk about just the difference in the kids' behavior, their moods, you know, that have you noticed like a lot of a difference? What types of things have you noticed?
I think that she's just more emotionally, she can regulate herself better. I mean, she's still 3. She's going to have tantrums and stuff, but like, as long as she eats and she gets her, you know, like her full tummies and stuff like that, and like she's not like saying like, oh, I don't want to have chicken, you know, or I don't want to have steak, or you know, like as long as she's not doing that and she's having that consistent, like, you know, she loves like meatballs and burger patties and stuff like that. So some days she just wants to eat that, and that's fine with me. You know, it's like I'm trying to figure out who my daughter is. You know, it's not one size fits all with all kids, but I noticed that she's, like I said, she's able to regulate her emotions better, and she's able to communicate. She's like, I'm sad because of this, or I'm upset because of that. It's
really good for a 3-year-old.
Yeah, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, but there are those moments of like, and they're more frequent than before. Absolutely, like of being like, this is how I'm feeling. Can I have this? Can you help me with this? Like instead of just like screaming and crying constantly, and I'm like, come on, use your words, talk to me, you know. So I definitely see emotion regularity or regulation is so much better for her. My son is the happiest baby in the world. Like he climbs on everything. He's so sweet. He just wants to hug and snuggle. My daughter, she's so much energy. She's just so sweet and funny, and she loves to sing. Yeah. And it's just so nice to see the kids, you know, becoming like their personalities like coming out and stuff like that. Like it's just like a funny thing. It's just I was eating with the kids, and I was sitting next to my son, and he like took a bite of something and he was chewing it, and then he kind of like looked at me. He took it out of his mouth and then put it in my mouth, like he wanted to share with me. You know, I'm like, thank you.
Thank you, I think.
So good. How cute. I was like, oh my gosh.
So what advice would you give to parents who are, you know, parents of young kids? Hi, Cindy. Or grandparents, and they've got their grandkids and they want to know, you know, obviously it's a little harder with grandparents because you're not their parent, you know. Yeah. What advice would you give, let's just say to parents of young kids, if they want to get them into a carnivore lifestyle?
Yeah, I think that whether they're low carb, whole food, or carnivore, it doesn't matter necessarily in the beginning. Like I wouldn't go straight into carnivore. I just wouldn't, especially if they're used to eating other things. You're just going to like, because kids like structure. They like monotony. They like routine. That's a better way to say it. They like routine. They like waking up in the morning and having these things for breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner, all the same things. They like to know the things they can do, and it's very important to allow your children freedom within boundaries. Like you can do all these things, but make sure you don't, you know, do these things. I would say what I did, because this worked for me, is that I had to really sit down and go, this is an effort of the family. We have to feed these kids better, because what we went through, you know what I mean? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I truly, truly wouldn't. And so we had to come together as a unit, as a family, and be like, okay, all that other stuff has to go. So you have to clear your pantry, give food away if you can, return it to the store if you can, or just if you have to, throw it out. You know, your health is one of the most important things, because if you're healthy and mom and dad are healthy, or you're just a solo parent, that's fine. But whatever it is, you as the parent, if you're not doing well, you can't take care of somebody else. You're gonna, like, you might fall into bad behaviors of like there's just so many things that can go wrong. So I would clear your pantry, I would clear your fridge, and make a plan. What are the foods that my kid already likes, right? So say your kid likes like chicken tenders, right? If to make it like a transition thing, you could make chicken tenders, but with like pork rinds instead of breadcrumbs.
Right.
And you can do those things, or you can just like slowly wean out the food. Like when the cereal's gone, there's no more cereal. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have cereal, but they love bacon and eggs, so you're gonna bring in the bacon and eggs, and you just tell them, oh, we're out of it. We have this instead. Like depends on their age, obviously. Maybe if they're old enough, you can explain to them, this is why fat is important. This is why protein is important. This is why carbohydrates and fiber are not essential. You can say those things.
To start educating them about the food itself. I mean, children are like sponges. They learn and they absorb things. And, so yeah, I mean, if you could teach them a little bit about the food, that would definitely be helpful, I would imagine. And because kids want to be, I remember, when my son was little, my daughter, they want to be the fastest, they want to be the strongest, they want to, be the most athletic and, the best or the most artistic or creative, so helping them understand how the food helps them be that way. I imagine that'd be really like, yeah, I want to eat what's going to make me strong. So like when I was growing up, it was in the Popeye era.
Yeah.
And so we were fed the whole thing about spinach,
Oh yeah, crush that can.
Crush the can. Yep. Pop, spinach goes down and boing, out come the muscles, right?
That's
and of
right.
course we know that was not correct messaging at all.
I was just like thinking back to it. I was like, oh man, even me as a kid, like that was the same thing. Like Popeye was on, like spinach cans, and I watched the cartoon, like the older episodes of the cartoon and stuff like that. Like, ooh, brought me back.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's marketing, man.
We can take some lessons away from the marketing that these companies do to kids, is to teach them actual truth and not pretend like the cereal is going to make them healthy because it happens to have some added vitamin to it.
Or like Frosted Flakes, which are basically just like sugar and corn. It's like, they're great. You're going to do soccer. Like I grew up with all those commercials, like being able to play soccer and basketball and like be very athletic while eating a bowl of like Frosted Flakes or Captain Crunch. And it's manipulation, honestly. So I would remove all of those, slowly at your pace, but like be determined as parents to like remove that kind of messaging out of your house and start re-educating.
And pull in some other things. And there's some great YouTube channels. I know you just did a video, and your last video was showing you making things that you can have for Thanksgiving, a whole Thanksgiving meal, which was really great. Now it's not technically all carnivore,
right?
There's a pumpkin, what is it? A pumpkin chocolate chip that's like kind of an almond flour base. It's not something that you're going to eat all the time, but I thought it was really a good option to show people that, a lot of people will just take the holidays and say it's a write-off. I know that you're going to be with family, there's going to be all this food, I'm just going to give myself a cheat day, and then you can easily fall off the wagon. I know myself, I would, so it's good that you were able to show that, okay, you can, maybe it's not going to be 100% carnivore, but here's some options that you can do and not completely go off the rails.
Yeah. And I put a warning on there too, because it's like, if you have issues with like addiction with food, like if sugar is like your trigger, don't make it. Please don't make it. Make it for other people. Make it as like a gesture, like and you're going to know that those ingredients are better than like a store-bought pastry. And then you can just say it was made with love, you know. Excuse me, like my husband loved it. Like,
yeah.
So it's like I felt, and he had no adverse reactions to it. And it's like that's the whole thing about like eating keto or carnivore or whatever. You have to learn how your body processes all the foods, because some like for a while eggs were really flaring up my rosacea, and now they, after taking a long break, they seem to be doing okay. So there's you have, and that's a carnivore food, right? It's like, oh, it's on the carnivore list, it should be fine, but there's going to be things that makes you different because you are different.
And I know that you and I first connected over our rosacea, our shared rosacea, because I remember, I know you had subscribed to my channel, but then I think when I was on, when JT interviewed me, I think you had asked me if you could contact me directly about the rosacea. You know, I feel like on the lion diet, mine's definitely improving, but I have flare-ups. It's just one of those frustrating things. It's like the rosacea is so hard to get rid of. I'd love to hear anybody that had the secret to getting rid of it, other than doxycycline or whatever that they prescribe you. I know I had a doctor, a dermatologist, that wanted me to take like 3 months of doxycycline to try to get rid of the rosacea. And I was, I did it for a while, but I mean, even as a nurse, I was like, that's really not like I always want to know, why do I have it in the first place?
Yes.
Like what's going on in my body that's causing me to have that's inflaming my skin? What do you think? I mean, are you kind of with your rosacea right now? Are you just kind of thinking that like your body's going to have to purge to a certain extent, or it still has more purging to do as far as toxic exposure from the past or inflammation? What are your thoughts around that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm at a place where it's like I've accepted how my skin looks. It looks better because of the light right now, but I feel like I've kind of accepted it, and I feel like it's a lot better. And and this is something I've like kind of learned recently. I can only compare myself to where I've been. I shouldn't, I shouldn't like go, oh, but it could look like this or it could be like that, because that's like where the negative talk starts happening, like the perfectionism with me, like I mentioned earlier. It's like, oh, I don't know. I'm not sure because I just feel so good. And I feel like I already have a husband. Like I don't have to look like that good. Like, oh, I don't know if that's so silly, but I feel very secure with my beauty, because I have that support system. And before it was like, I'm like a hideous monster, and I feel like it's like, oh, you can actually see some of my skin now, and that's kind of nice, so I'm just taking it in strides.
That's a good attitude to have towards it. And you've seen so many, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to say. You've seen so many unbelievable, results. Your depression's gone, your anxieties, the panic attacks are gone. You've lost a ton of weight. You look, and your rosacea has improved. And your constipation is gone. I mean, that's amazing. All of those are incredible.
Thank you.
So share, I know we're kind of coming down to the end here, but share just a moment. You have a kind of a new, I know you're part of a live stream, the Lioness Live. I hope I said it right. And next Tuesday, I'm going to be on that with you and the other ladies. So I'm looking forward to that. And then you have one about moms called Mother Knows Best. So you want to share just a little bit about that and what that's all about?
Sure. So I've noticed that there's this hole in at least in the YouTube content where no one ever talks about children. Nobody like keto or carnivore. Like it's just not there. Like you'll see some videos about doctors just talking about how important it is, but I think that we need the perspective of moms and parents too. I'd be open to talk to parents, but for now, like because I'm a mom, I want to connect with other moms and get their opinion, like how they went about helping their kids get off of the highly processed sugar food. Like, what did you do? How do you feel? What do you see? Like how your kids are they getting better? Do you feel like they're the same? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel excited? Do you feel good? Like I want to know those things because it's not, it's not perfect all the time, you know?
Yeah.
What are your kids' favorite foods that they eat? Is there like is there a particular recipe that you would love to share with other people? Um, so I really just want to invite moms on so they can share their wins, things that they feel like they could improve on, and have someone that they can connect to, and our audience, and
Mm-hmm.
to feel like you're not alone, because when you pursue this kind of lifestyle, it can be kind of alienating, with
Yeah.
certain groups of people. And I just want to make like a little safe space for them, and just to get the dialogue going, because
I think that's
you don't
so
have
important.
I was just going to say, you don't have to feed your kids like, Pop Tarts and Oreos and to have fed kids. You can give them nutritious foods.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we need to be redefining nutrition, because we have, generations now, several generations who have grown up under a wrong definition of nutrition. And I think it's also important to understand for parents that, we may be doing a carnivore diet because we need healing, because we have so much damage to our bodies. But when you're starting with young children who have, who haven't had that damage, you don't necessarily need to be quite as strict. You don't
Right.
want to. I think finding where that line is something where it could be end up being a challenge. I would imagine. I mean, I don't have my kids aren't young anymore; they're all grown. But um, to figure out how much can you do as far as carbohydrates with children without messing them up metabolically.
Exactly. And that's um, the first episode I had Nicole, former fat girl. She's a nutritionist, and I wanted her to come on and talk to me about like, what do you think is like the best diet for children? And she's more like low carb but meat based. So that's like we like to say like on Lioness Lifestyle, because we want meat based. So like you can be keto meat based, or you can be lion diet, or you can even be low carb. Like we're
Yeah,
all friends.
yeah,
We found carnivore to be what helps us. Like I want to, and this is like something I just started talking about on my channel. I want to do like a full year and see where I want to go from there. Like, do I want to see if I want to, not like bread and stuff like that, but like, I don't know. Can I eat carrots? Can I eat avocado? Can I eat, I don't know. I'd like to see how I do, because I feel so, and maybe I won't want to. Maybe I want to stay carnivore longer, but it's like, I just want to really find what works best for my body and my family. And I don't want to be pigeonholed into like, like, oh, I'm a carnivore YouTuber. Like, it's like, no, I'm Ellie and this is my
yeah.
story. And I hope you come along, maybe I can make you laugh or something, and inspire you. Or maybe you're feeling like, I don't know, maybe you want a carrot one day. It's like, that's okay. Like, I don't know. That's just how I feel right now.
Yeah, and
I
I mean,
think
I think, yeah, and everyone needs to kind of gauge, and you'll have an opportunity to test out different foods and see how your body responds.
Yeah,
And
because when I was on carnivore, like I noticed that I was getting flared up from like seasonings and stuff like that. So I don't use any seasonings but salt. It's like, I don't know, can I have garlic powder? I don't know. Like let's find out. And maybe, and like I would like to show people that as well, because like maybe I won't wanna. Maybe I want to stay carnivore.
and
Maybe I
it's
want to do ketovore. I don't know. Just
yeah, and it's not always an instant reaction. Like when you add a food back, it's sometimes it is, but there's other times where it can take. You can have a delayed response to it. It could be 5 days later. So I mean, I would when I when I talked about histamine issues, like what I have in the video that I did about the low histamine carnivore, and talking about it as an elimination, and you add things back, you add one thing and you give it like a week. I mean,
yes.
eat it. If you don't have, obviously, if you have an instant reaction, you don't want to continue eating it. But if you're doing okay, eat it for like a week, because you may have a delayed response. So, you'll figure
That's
it out. So
great
we've got Altiora, I hope I pronounced that right, from
advice.
Spain. Wonderful. I love it.
Welcome.
I think that this is the first viewer I've had who's been on my live stream from Spain.
That's so cool. Look, you're reaching all over the world.
I've had
That's so cool.
Australia and I've had UK, and I do have a subscriber from New Zealand. But yeah, neat to have from Spain. Wonderful. So awesome. Well, I just want to give anybody who has any questions for Ellie an opportunity. I know that usually you just shout them out in there, and I don't want to keep her over too much, but
I'm good. Like, I can stay a little longer if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, but if you do have a question for Ellie, you know, definitely put it in the comment so she can address the questions. And so you've got your Mother Knows Best live stream. Now, how many episodes have you done so far of that?
It's been 2. So I had Nicole, the nutritionist, and then I had Nia from Nia's Way. She's also a carnivore mom. Mm-hmm. She feeds her kid like animal based. And I'm going to have Samantha Hammonds on. She's carnivore mom. And I'm also have Faith from the Texas Boys. She's going to be coming up soon. She has like 8 kids, you know. They're all, you know, they're like ketovore, carnivore. So I have a lot to ask her. And Samantha as well. She has like, I believe 4 or 5 kids. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn and a lot of perspectives.
Is there going to be sharing of more recipes? I know you've shared some recipes on your channel. Is that one of the things you're going to be doing?
I think that would be fun. I was thinking about a series. Don't hold me to it, but I had this idea of a series to try and like make foods that my daughter might like. So it's like, I'm gonna make this, and then I show the plate, like this is what I give her, and then like see if she tries it or not, and like just try to open up her palate more and just show that like sometimes you have to, you know, reintroduce a food so many times before they like actually feel comfortable with eating it. And I just, you know, like I said, I just want to help her as best as I can, because I'm not worried about my boy. He loves me. He's always like,
sometimes it's presentation makes a difference. So there's a question for you. How did carnivore affect your social life? I mean, religiously, willpower, mental clarity, also your respect for animals.
Okay, let's start. That's a great question. Let's start from the beginning. So social life. When family members found out that I was carnivore, and I wanted, like, a lot of people were like, oh, it was kind of like a similar reaction to when I did keto. They're like, oh, that's so bad for you. You're going to get a heart attack. And like, just, you know, like, how could you do that to the kids? Like, it was all, now that I have kids, you know, when I did keto, I didn't have kids. And then I got pregnant afterwards because of keto. But it's like, but it's like, but that's fine. Sorry, I had some pushback. You know, nothing directly towards me, but you know, you hear like through the grapevine, you hear it. And some family members.
Do you feel it was out of concern for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, there wasn't like, they love me, you know, obviously. I could tell it came from love, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, you're being a little ignorant right now. Be open-minded, please. Let's talk it out. I actually didn't talk to my mom for like a month because she like upset me. And so I gave her time to like come and apologize. It took about a month for her to get the courage to like call me. And I was like, I'm waiting, Mom. I've been waiting. Come on. Religiously, I've not had any issue with it. I think it's in the Bible. You can watch Lynn's video about that.
I've got a video that says, is eating carnivore unbiblical? Or is the carnivore diet unbiblical?
I learned a lot from that. I agree. Willpower, I think it's given me more willpower because I don't have like the inner voice going like, oh, there's some cake in the fridge. You're really stressed out. Just go eat another slice. That's fine. You had 2 today. It's fine. You could just go eat it. And then when it's gone, you can't eat it anymore. Oh, okay. So I'm helping myself. I'm going to go eat that slice. Okay. It's like, I don't have those thoughts anymore.
It's because like, the addiction, we actually get over the addiction.
Absolutely. It's gone. It's like, I mean, like I said, I made that like pumpkin keto chocolate chip bread, and it smelled like the real thing. Like, wow. And it smelled so delicious. And I enjoyed the smell. And I said, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go eat that lasagna I made. That lasagna was fantastic. It was
Yeah,
so
that looked
delicious.
really amazing.
Yeah, it was so good. It doesn't have, and when I say lasagna, it didn't have. It was made with like turkey slices as like the noodles, so it was all animal based.
Right.
Mental clarity, 100 times like better. I feel like it's so funny. I used to get lost, like when we were in the car. Like I never knew where I was, even though I've lived here for over 20 years. It's like, where am I now? I'm like, oh, that road leads into that road, and then if you turn over there, then it's like, oh, that's how you get. It's like I can think about. I feel like
good.
and more positive thing. And I have a lot more respect for animals. It's like I don't let food go to waste. I pray every meal, and if I forget, I feel bad, and then I pray after. And then it's like it's life, and unfortunately, you kind of have to, it's a cycle. Life begins, life ends, and you just try your best to always remember that, like, even like if you ate only vegetables, like there is still like a lot of animals, they pass, like because of like pesticides and all that stuff. So it's like you can't escape it necessarily, but I don't know, does that make sense at all? It's like, so you just like always come from a heart of gratitude. Like,
Gratitude, right? That's a good way.
Thank you for giving me this food that's going to make me feel good, so I can do good for the world. I can help my community. I can make sure my kids are doing well. I can, so it's a lot more intuitive.
Yeah, I felt the same thing too. I feel like it helps me appreciate animals more, because it also makes me thankful to God too for setting it up so that they can provide us with the nutrients that we need and be such complete nutrition for us. And so, so that was a really good question. So, hey, we got Nicole from Former Fat Girl. She just got off of a long live stream. I was actually tuning in for a little while on that.
I popped in for a bit. Woo.
I can imagine her brain must be fried. My goodness. Let's see here. So you got other people saying, hey to Nicole, fancy seeing you here. What a slog. Yes, I could not do 4 hours. Unbelievable. Yeah, brutal. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so we have, let's see, Altiora says, I always get the you hate animals because you eat them. Yeah, I had someone on a comment call me evil. So
you evil? No way.
Evil, yeah. And this wasn't on my YouTube. This was on X or Twitter, whatever it used to be. But it really gave me a spiritual connection with them, respect and gratitude for their life. I want them to thrive. Yes, absolutely. They're nourishing us. So it really makes you appreciate them, right?
Nothing goes to waste. Like I try so hard to make sure like we don't overbuy, we don't overconsume. Like think about how many vegetables you let rot in your fridge and you're like, it's like that doesn't happen
all the time.
Now with Carnivore, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. We used to have the veggies rotten in our fridge all the time. And it's probably because we didn't really like them. I'm guessing.
I know, right? Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, loves the sound. Oh yeah, this is Nicole's live stream. If you haven't seen go to Former Fat Girl and watch her live stream if you have 4 hours. But it's very interesting for sure.
You have a long drive, like say you're going to work, just put it on. You can hit pause when you come off work. You just start it back up. Let's support each other.
Yeah, that was definitely it. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to more of it because I was only able to catch some of it. Because I was, getting ready to meet with you tonight.
It's been so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So if nobody has any more questions, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm trying not to keep Ellie too long. I know I schedule for like an hour, but I give a little bit of leeway to go, over a little bit. But I know it's later where you are than it is here on the West Coast.
Wake up early. But I'm going to be up. I'm actually going to be up. I'm going to go over to the low carb football party. I'm going to hang out with those guys for a little bit. But I love my time with you, Lynn. I don't want to go.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So
I know.
fun.
Well, I'm going to be seeing you on Tuesday on your
That's true.
Lioness Lifestyle. You ladies rock. Nice. And Nicole, anytime you want to come join me, I'd love to talk to you. I haven't had a chance to actually communicate with you at all, but I find you to be a wealth of wonderful information that I would love to share with my audience too. So if you're interested, let me know. And anybody who's interested, I love to talk with other carnivores. So if you are interested in coming and joining me, my Gmail, it's midlifecarnivore@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email and we can set up something. I've been enjoying it's so much nice. It's so nice when you can connect with people, and actually talk to the real person, not just chat with them on
Yeah.
So Susan says, just threw away a rotten apple out both last week. Clean them out. It takes a little bit of time. Oh, we got another question. Some other questions for you. So how long before depression got better? Good question.
A big bulk of my depression, I feel like, was back when I was, doing keto, going from that standard American diet, highly processed food, to keto. I'd say within maybe like 2 months.
Okay.
I'd say pretty early on, because it was just like, it was like night and day. And then when I came back from standard American, kind of cleaner, but to carnivore, I feel like my mood was just more stable. Like, I hadn't had any panic attacks for a really long time. I feel like the weight, taking a lot of that weight off, because I'm close to like almost 70 pounds lost, like from keto and to carnivore now, and it's been, I mean, so many inches, like over 40 inches, like 50 inches. I don't know, a lot of inches.
That's
a lot
unbelievable.
Of inches.
That's so great.
Yeah, I try to show. I have videos on my channel where I try to show like the same picture and the same position and all my measurements, and really like be like technical about it. I don't like the data, it's all about the data, and so just like that alone, it's just been absolutely crazy. So.
And I know you blew your knee out, and so this is not like weight loss with a ton of exercise either, right?
Oh, no. I actually I didn't even talk about that. I actually dislocated my knee, like a few days into carnivore this time. And so like the first 6 weeks, I didn't move at all. I was in that bed. That was me. And It was very painful, but I feel like the recovery was much faster, as this was a repeat injury from when I was a kid.
Well, you're giving your body what it needs to heal.
Yeah.
So, and another question, did you notice changes in body odor? Good question.
Yeah, yes. So the first 3 weeks, I smelled horrible. Like, don't get me wrong, I smelled horrible. I smelled like meat. I hated it. And then the smell went away. Like, I don't really have bad body odor. I don't really sweat as much. Like, it used to be like so bad. I would have to, back when I was on the standard American diet, I would have to use like prescription level deodorant, and like now I don't really need deodorant unless I'm like, I know I'm going outside, and I live in Florida. It's very hot, so I put it on just for others, for others' sake. But yeah, I feel like I don't have an odor. My bowel movements don't have an odor.
I noticed that too.
Smells bad. Like, my breath doesn't even smell as bad. Like, it's crazy.
I had bad breath. I had bad breath for a while when I first started on it. Did you have that at the beginning or no?
Not bad breath, but I just smelled like meat.
It smelled
like transitional phase was a little. Good thing I stayed home, right?
Oh, thanks, Nicole. I can tell you just got off of a 4-hour live stream. She had to correct her spelling. I don't know how your brain is even functional right now. I would be absolutely in a coma somewhere. Oh, let's see. So Altiora says, I'm holding up a carnivore social network. If you're interested in free early access, please drop your email so I can invite you. Okay, so anyone who's interested in that, just drop an email into the chat. If you get this on the replay, Altiora, do you want to maybe put a comment after it's done and maybe go back to it and put a comment for anybody who catches it on the replay and how to contact you? That would be really helpful. Let's see. Hello, everyone had to pop out, now back. Good to have you back, Cindy. You can catch up with the replay. Let's see. Oh, building, not holding. So building. Okay. So building, holding, not holding up. Like, it's a hold up. Stick it up. Okay. All right. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate it. Make sure everybody's subbing to Ellie's channel. I'm going to go back again and just going to pop into your channel so everyone can see you, those who've come in late. This is Ellie's channel called Nourishment Redacted. And she has a really great channel. I just watched this Carnivore Thanksgiving one, and she had made some really cool foods that you could eat. But there's a whole bunch of stuff on here. She's got live stream. She's got shorts. Look how beautiful she is.
Oh,
Go subscribe. See, I can say that because you're my daughter's age. So young.
Sweet. Thank you.
I have beautiful daughters. I have two daughters who are both beautiful. So I appreciate the beauty. And carnivores glow. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate that. And Cindy has already subscribed to you, Ellie.
Yeah, Cindy's been online. It's lifestyle. We're buds.
Awesome. Very good. So, all right. So, let's see. She will be on our live stream soon. Yeah. Nice. Good. Excellent. Can't wait
You're gonna see me all over YouTube. I'm hopping everywhere.
It's important. It's important, because we have things to share with people that they need to know for their health. So Altier says, I already subbed to both of you, enjoying your content so much. Excellent. Very good. Love to hear that. So see, you've got someone from Spain who's a subscriber.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Good thing about technology, right? So, okay. So I kind of just want to wrap things up. Let me see. What question do I want to ask you? I know it's if you were to give advice. Let's see, if you were to give advice to somebody who is on keto and they're questioning whether or not they need to become carnivore because they're not quite seeing as many results as they wish, what advice would you give them?
I think that's very personal. Like I would want to know in order to help them properly, but I'll say that the specific and then more general to the individual person, I would ask, like, what are your goals? Like, what do you need to improve? Do you think that there is like something tied to food, or do you think it's like more of like a medical thing that you need to go see a doctor for? Like, because those are both important. For just the general, I think that carnivore is the perfect elimination diet because, like I said, there might be something that is flaring you up or hindering your weight loss, or maybe you're not feeling that relief from arthritis, or maybe your diabetes is still kind of out of control because you're using those erythritol, monk fruit, what is it, artificial sugars?
Even some of the natural sugars, and they tend to be less lower on the glycemic index, but they're not good for the gut.
That could be something that's like harming you. And so I would encourage you to do lots of research, question everything, because you're already halfway there. You already accepted that at least minimum low carb is like the way to go. Whole food, like you're already there. It might be that jumpstart you need to truly start seeing some health benefits if you're not already on keto. Try it for 30, 60 days. You can do anything that you put your mind to. If you truly want to get your health back, it's going to be a priority in your life for sure. So
yeah, absolutely.
Very good. I'd encourage them.
Yeah, very good advice. And yeah, you're right. You can try anything for 30, 60 days and see how you feel. And it doesn't mean you have to be carnivore your whole life. It depends on how much healing you have to do, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Some people do. If you're Michaela Peterson, you may need to, you may need to be on a very strict diet. I may need to with my mast cell activation syndrome. I don't know yet.
That guy right there, he probably needs to as well. So
yes, absolutely. He has an autoimmune disease. And so when it comes to, autoimmune, mine is an immune system disease. It's a little different. Depends on where you're at with your health. But if you have things that are, that are reversible, not just need to go into remission, but reversible, you may be able to just do it for a period of time and then start to add things back and test them out.
And can I say carnivore foods are the most delicious foods, so you won't be mad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they are. And if
So
you're
good.
and if you're concerned about all those, studies out there that say that this food is going to be harmful for you, just know that not every study is a good one. When I was
There's a
in
lot of
nursing,
studies that are shelved, like
there's
because the companies have like a money
yes.
tied to them. So keep that in mind.
Who's paying for the study?
Yeah.
And when I was in nursing school, we had a whole class about doing analysis of clinical trials, and learned very much that there are so many studies that don't get published that show the exact opposite of the ones that do get published. You also need to, when it comes to things like studies on fiber and whole grains and all these things, you have to realize that they do a study of people that are maybe eating garbage, and then a study that maybe people eating whole grains, and they say, well, whole grains is better. They don't include a group of carnivores in that study. So we have not.
You're even low carb. I feel like it's just never mentioned, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real incentive to do studies on carnivore because
you can't make money. You can't make money off of carnivore. Like the way they're making money off of keto right now, and I say keto with quotes, it baffles me. It's just
and if they develop a way to make money off of carnivore, I would definitely question the ingredients. So anyways, so I would say just go in it and do your research and try it. It's not going to hurt you to try it for 30 days. So good. Well, thank you so much, Ellie, for joining me. I'm going to wrap things up and let you get to bed and with your husband, and we're going to say goodbye to everybody. And thank you for everyone who joined us. And I am working on another live stream coming up with an incredible story of an incredible young man. I'm still working on his, unbelievably amazing story about that. I just happened to come across his video and I reached out to him. I was like blown away by it. He said, yes, I'll come on. So working out the details of that with him. But stay tuned for that, and would love to have some of you other carnivores out there come on and join me and chat. Love to get to know our community. And I will be Tuesday on Lioness Lifestyle Live with the ladies. So all right, have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and God bless you all.
Good night.
Good night.